presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the February 25th presidential poll, Atiku Abubakar, has again asked the Supreme Court to jettison technicality and grant his application for leave to tender fresh and additional evidence to support his claim that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu submitted forged documents to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Atiku predicated his plea on the grounds that presenting forged documents by any candidate, especially by a candidate for the highest office in the land, is a very grave constitutional issue that must not be encouraged.
The former vice president stated this in his reply on point of law to Tinubu's objection to the grant of leave to Atiku to present fresh evidence before the apex court. Tinubu had predicated his objection on grounds of jurisdiction and that the issue of qualification is a pre-election matter, among others, and subsequently prayed the court to deny the grant of the application. The appellants and applicants, while noting that they are only at this stage merely applying for leave of the Supreme Court to receive the fresh evidence submitted, that to refuse to grant the leave, as the respondents have argued, will amount to undue technicality. And it's a word that, a lot of people, are tired of hearing, or you don't even want to hear anymore in Nigeria's whole, electoral and judicial, process. I remember that it became popular a few years ago when the Imo State governor, current Imo State governor, Hope Uzodinma, moved from fourth position to become governor. And I remember that, it became a popular word there that the courts use, technicalities to, bring him into office, which is not discrediting, whatever the courts did then, that's when it started becoming popular. And over time, there have been more and more of these cases, that have emerged, and the rulings, a lot of Nigerians just cannot put, one or two together, and they eventually just call them, technicalities, and so right now, because of how sensitive, the current electoral process has been, and the whole discussions around it, a lot of people are scared, about what new technicalities can be thrown in here and there. That just would not make a lot of sense to Nigerians. If you remember, in some cases, documents, that have been forged are ignored. And then in other cases, they're accepted. In some cases, INEC has ignored the part that, the voters register, and of course, the what's it called now? The, the IREV was not, the results were not uploaded on the INEC servers. Yeah. That there were result sheets, that seem to have been mutilated and all of that. Defaced. In some cases, those have been ignored. In some cases, they have been used, as evidence in the court. So, technicalities, yes.
When it comes to the cases of legal cases and matters before the court, yes, it's important to mention that there are due processes that must be followed, and sometimes the due process doesn't make sense to the ordinary man. So, I then think it behoves on the lawyers to ensure that they do their due diligence and do not fall short of the technicalities, because there will be technicalities. If a matter, for example, if you're coming to court and the matter, everybody can see that there is evidence, it's glaring that there is evidence against this person, evidence to support the person who brought the matter to court, and you take it to the wrong court. First of all, you cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand. There's already a jurisdiction problem there. So the court does not have the jurisdiction to hear that matter. So I think the hope would be that the lawyers have done their due diligence and can find, yes, there are ways to maneuver certain areas of the law. There are certain new areas that will be argued that may never have been, made a point of law that would then become the locus classicus to determine other cases that will be coming after that. So it's just, the hope is that the lawyers have done the due diligence and that the justice will prevail. Although,
but even in the build-up,
is relative.
Yeah, even in the build-up, to where we are now, I remember that there were conversations about whether more evidence can be added to what is already presented in court, and a lot of legal practitioners said no. Your Supreme Court is only going to rule on what it currently has before it. And the Atiku Abubakar team, seems to be hoping to add more. They may have found out more either from the Chicago State University or from the FBI or from whoever, and, would like to add a little bit more to prove beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah, I don't want to preempt what will happen, but to be honest, at the end of the day, there are laws for a reason. There are technicalities by which the court goes around certain issues. And I don't know if they'll be amended based on individual
particular
parties,
case, yeah.
right? I
don't
mean, I
expect
can't
so.
speak on it because the matter is still in court, but we, of course, will just have to wait
Yeah.
and see what the courts decide.